Hello and welcome to E.M.A.N. Effectively Making a Noise. Today's story is Joseph Makes Himself Known to His Brothers. Joseph makes himself known to his brothers. Coming from Genesis chapter 42, verse 1 through Genesis chapter 45, verse 28. When Jacob heard that there was an abundance, which means a good supply of grain in Egypt, he sent 10 of his sons down to Egypt to buy grain to keep his family alive. But Jacob did not send Joseph's younger brother Benjamin, because he was afraid that some harm might befall him. Thus the sons of Jacob were among the others who came from the land of Canaan to buy grain. Now Joseph was governor over Egypt, and it was he who sold food to all the people of the land. And behold, Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him. Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. So to test them, Joseph treated them as strangers and spoke roughly to them. As they bowed down before him, he remembered the dreams which he had dreamed of them. These dreams were now coming true. Joseph pretended to accuse them of being spies who had come to see the barrenness, meaning being bare, having no crops, of the land. But they said they were all the sons of one man, honest men, and that they had come only to buy food. Joseph insisted that they were spies and put them all in prison for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said he would keep one of the brothers in prison and let the rest go and carry grain back to their hungry households. He made them promise that they would bring their youngest brother Benjamin to him when they returned to Egypt. The brothers began to be conscience stricken, feeling ashamed for having done wrong, for the wrong they had done to Joseph, and to realize that now the day of reckoning was upon them. Joseph understood their conversation, and he turned away from them and wept, unseen. Then Joseph took E.M.A.N from them and held him as a hostage. And Joseph gave instructions that their bags be filled with grain, and that each man's money be restored in his sack, and that they would be given provisions for the journey back to Canaan. This was done. On the return journey, one of the men opened his sack and was surprised to find his money in the mouth of it. At this discovery, all the brothers were greatly afraid and said to one another, "What is this that God has done to us?" When they came to their father Jacob in Canaan, they told him all that had befallen them in Egypt. As they emptied the grain out of their sacks, behold, each man's money was in his sack, and they were all greatly dismayed. Then Jacob said to them, "You have bereaved," which means sad and lonely because of a loss or death, me of my children. Joseph is gone, and E.M.A.N is gone, and now you would take Benjamin away from me? And he lamented concerning all the troubles that had come upon him. The famine continued to be severe in Canaan, and before long the grain which the brothers had brought from Egypt was all eaten up. Then Jacob said to his sons, "Go again into Egypt and buy us a little food." But they said that there was no use going unless they took Benjamin with them. Jacob was reluctant to give his consent, until Judah earnestly declared that he would be surety, which means a person who takes responsibility for another, for Benjamin. Finally, their father Jacob said to them, "If it must be so now, do this. Take some of the choicest fruits of the land in your sacks, and carry down to the man a present, a little balm and a little honey, spices, myrrh, nuts, and almonds. Take a double amount of money with you. Take back the money that was returned in the mouth of your sacks. It may have been an oversight. Take also your brother Benjamin, and arise, go again to the man, and may God Almighty grant you mercy before him, so that he may send back your other brother and Benjamin. If I am bereaved of my children, I am bereaved." So the men took with them the present and a double amount of money and Benjamin. And they arose and went down to Egypt, and stood before Joseph a second time. When Joseph saw that his brothers had kept their word and had brought Benjamin with them, he commanded his steward, one in charge of affairs of another, to arrange for their entertainment in his own house. He received the present they had bought and saw to it that they were served with plenty of food. He inquired after their welfare and asked, "Is your father well? The old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?" They replied, "Your servant, our father, is in good health. He is still alive." Joseph saw to it that Benjamin's share was 5 times as much as any of the others. So they ate and drank and had a merry time with Joseph. But Joseph decided to test them further. So he commanded his steward to fill their sacks with food, and put each man's money in his sack, and to conceal his silver cup in Benjamin's. Then early in the morning he sent them on their way. And when they were not yet far off, he sent his steward after them. The steward quickly overtook them, and accused them of stealing his master's silver cup. The brothers, of course, denied that they had done such a thing, but every man was ordered to search his sack, and the silver cup was found in Benjamin's. They were taken back in shame and fear to Joseph's house. Joseph said that he would let the others go, but that he must keep Benjamin as his servant. Whereupon Judah made a noble plea and entreaty, meaning request, something asked for, on Benjamin's behalf, that he be restored to his old father. Then Joseph could not restrain himself any longer, and he wept aloud, and sent all of his Egyptian servants out of the room. So no one stayed with Joseph while he made himself known to his brothers. And Joseph said to them, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers could not answer him, for they were greatly dismayed and troubled by his disclosure. So Joseph said to his brothers, "I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. But do not be grieved or angry with yourselves for selling me here, for it was God's will to send me before you to preserve life." Then he bade them to make haste and go up to his father and say to him, "Thus says your son Joseph, God has made me Lord of all Egypt. Do not delay to come down to me. You shall live in the land of Goshen, which means northeast part of Egypt, and you shall be near me, you and your children, and your children's children, and your flocks, your herds, and all that you have. There I will take care of you, for there yet remain 5 years of famine, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty." Then he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck, and he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. And after that his brothers talked with him. Pharaoh was pleased to hear that Joseph's brothers had come, and that Joseph had made himself known to them. He urged Joseph to send his brothers back with a generous supply of food, and to have them bring their father and their households and come to dwell in Egypt. Pharaoh offered them wagons to transport their goods, and promised to give them the best of the land of Egypt to settle in. The sons of Jacob did as they were bidden, and Joseph gave them wagons and provisions for the journey. To each of them he gave changes of raiment, which mean clothing. But to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of raiment. He sent a large present of grain, bread, and food to his father, and said to his brothers as they were going, "See that you do not quarrel with one another along the way." So when the brothers came back to their father Jacob, they said to him, "Joseph is still alive, and he is governor over all the land of Egypt." This was hard for Jacob to believe, and his heart almost failed him. But when they told him all the words of Joseph, and when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob revived. And Jacob said, "It is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." And that is the end. Peace.